Disclosure about the secret space programs and the Dark Fleet. Not Waffenregier. The images in this presentation come from the internet, from video games like Mass Effect and other resources that promote disclosure, which is hidden in plain sight to see. Most of this disclosure showcases various groups of the secret space programs and how they operate. Human moon bases and colonies. This is approximately what the Lunar Operations Command, LOC, now known as Lunar Space Operations, LSP, base looks like on the moon that the highest tier of the secret space program is in charge of. The base is made up of polymer non-destructible, biodegradable materials and shield reflective plexiglass windows. Now, Lunar Space Operations has multiple bases on the moon as well as on other planets in the solar system that's been recently discovered through hypnosis sessions. As well, there are dome cities on the moon with human colonies. These cities have a sustainable atmosphere and gravity, so human populations can live in them for prolonged periods of time. Originally, there had been domed cities built on the moon by the ancient builder races, and the SSP reverse engineered the architecture of these cities in order to build their own bases, as well as livable habitat colonies on the moon, Mars, and other planets in our solar system and beyond. On the left-hand side is the SSP Alliance Martian Dome Cities. This is a dome city that is made of non-breakable plexiglass polymer materials and various bioalloys that are mined throughout the solar system. There are Range Rovers, which take workers and passengers between the SSP bases and cities to complete work detail or research projects. On the right-hand side are the hydroponic and aquaponics gardens. The SSP programs grow hydroponic and aquaponics gardens that do not require soil in order for plants and vegetation to grow successfully. There are special irrigation methods that allow for this to be done. Hydroponic and aquaponics gardens. Martian hydroponics and aquaponics crews planting vegetables, plants, and food in the newly constructed gardens. Hydroponic and aquaponics facilities. Fully functioning gardens growing hydroponics and aquaponics produce on Mars. This is the basis for learning how bio-living plants grow in harsh environments. Hydroponics city garden on Mars. Hydroponics gardening is a subset of hydroculture and is a method of growing plants using mineral nutrient solutions in water without the use of soil. Terrestrial plants may be grown with their roots in the mineral solution only or in an inert medium such as perlite, gravel, sand, etc. The nutrients in hydroponics can be from fresh waste, organic fertilizer, normal nutrients, or from duck manure. Prototype dome for park space. This is a prototype biodome for building park green spaces in the Martian cities. It is important to have green spaces on planetary colonies as they provide breathable oxygen and also places where individuals can go to relax as well as socialize with each other when they are not working. Eventually, when Mars is fully terraformed, there will be a complete atmosphere, so parks and forests will not need to be growing inside biodomes, and oceans as well as lakes will naturally form on the planet. The secret space programs have already begun to terraform Mars, to build out a full atmosphere, and to also creating these various biodomes with different types of plant life, animals, etc., to eventually not need the biodomes. So Mars could be a self-sustainable planet with an Earth-type atmosphere, and to eventually be like an Earth, except it's Mars. Through recent hypnosis sessions, I have discovered that there might not be an SSP alliance per se. So I'm trying to make that clear right now because this presentation had been done earlier, several years ago. So just for clarification, SSP Alliance Martian rovers. On the left-hand side is a transportation rover with people wearing slim space suits, which are smart suits. And on the top image is a heavy-duty terrain rover designed for mining expeditions and for transporting building materials across Mars from base to base and research facilities. The mining and building crews wear heavy-duty suits to protect them from the Martian outdoor weather elements, sandstorms, and solar space storms. SSP Mars Settlement Stations. The first SSP Mars settlement stations were made up of a few buildings and biodomes before special polymer materials were created to build bases, cities, etc., as well as using mining deposits on Mars for stronger building alloys. SSP Alliance Martian Trading City Base. This is one of the SSP Martian Trading City bases where most of the ships that come from the LOC, now called the LSP, land first to pick up supplies and go on their way after checking in at port docking. SSP Alliance Martian Pod Housing. Some of the SSP research teams live in dome pod houses on Mars when they are studying the planet's ecology out in the field. SSP Alliance Martian Base. This is an SSP Alliance base on Mars. It is mostly research and development that happens here to figure out how to terraform Mars. The secret space programs started building bases on Mars in the 1950s and have created stable infrastructures throughout the years. These bases are successful, and once it was known that it was structurally feasible to have buildings on Mars, then city dome colonies were built on the planet. Landing and launching space pads. These are the landing and launching spaceport pads where ships land and leave from when they visit the Martian bases. Spaceport Air Traffic Control. The SSP Spaceport Air Traffic Control monitors where ships land on the Martian bases, as well as keeping schedules for incoming and outgoing air traffic over the various Mars bases, cities, research facilities, etc. Martian colony homes. These are what the Martian colony homes look like inside the domed cities. Families have larger homes than single individuals who are not married or have kids. The houses are made of durable polymer, non-destructible materials in order to be able to withstand the sand and solar storms on Mars. Interior of a Martian home. The interiors of Martian homes have a living room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, small office space, and 2 bathrooms for each home design. Houses are made of portable materials and can be deconstructed and moved to different locations in cities. that are protected by the domes. Often houses will also have portable gardens that are part of the house attachment inside the property, because there are importances in having spaces inside the home which are dedicated to green space, to growing food, to growing vegetables, because outside the areas are mostly all used for city life and stuff inside the domes. These domes can be huge, or they could be smaller sized domes. So all space is important inside the home. It's all used in a functional way for sleeping arrangements, for eating, for leisurely activities, for a small garden inside the home. That's very important for growing your own food and being self-sustainable at each property. Slim skin-tight spacesuits. These are the slim skin-tight spacesuits that individuals on Mars wear when they are out exploring the surface of Mars, going between the different bases and city colonies on the planet. These slim skin-tight spacesuits are otherwise also called smart suits or environmental suits. Combat armor. Since the atmosphere on Mars is very thin, smart spacesuits in combat armor are worn when patrolling the boundaries of bases and cities on protection detail or mission reconnaissance. Phaser weapons. Phaser weapons are used that utilize laser fire instead of firearms with bullets or physical projectiles. Phaser weapons have features like stun and also the kill setting. However, the phaser weapons technology does not make use of bullets, as those do not have stun settings, and therefore can damage combat armor or spacesuits, killing unnecessarily. Alien bases and ruins on Mars. There are ancient alien underground bases, research facilities, and ruins of cities, as well as other structures like pyramids on Mars, as well as ancient domes. Only scientists are allowed to research these alien bases, and military personnel accompany the scientists when they go on their research expeditions to the ancient bases and cities. There are species of some reptilians, original human colonists, insectoids, and ant species living on Mars, as well as having the secret space program bases, colonies, and cities. Planetary corporations and interplanetary corporate conglomerate bases, ICC. The ICC bases on Mars are built differently than the SSP bases. The ICC bases are steel reinforced, and some of them are tubular shaped. These are research and R&D installations that build advanced technology to trade with other ET races. There are all types of medical labs, R&D, manufacturing plants, weapon munitions, bunkers, and intelligence gathering facilities on the ICC bases. And the weapon munitions bunkers, they store plasma cannon weapons, various laser weapons, phaser weapons, those types of things, as well as plasma rail guns that are experimental, various laser antennae, and other types of energy-based beam weaponry. That's what they store in these weapon munition bunkers. They don't just store regular weapons. All kinds of laser platforms, phaser platforms, cannons, and it's all energy-based beam weaponry that they have. Stasis holding chambers. the ICC hold prisoners of war in cryosleeping fluidic chambers, as well if there is brainwashing, mind control manipulation, or brain wiping, blank slating of memories being done, then these fluidic chambers are used for those purposes. These chambers also have the capability of creating torture scenarios for the individuals being held in the chambers. The fluidic drugs or drug serums in the chambers can create the torture imagery, which feels very real to the subjects. So it feels and looks very real, but it's holographically induced, very holographic in nature, but not computerized. It's done with drug serums. Also, subliminal messages can be planted in the brain to create fake memories instead of real ones. An individual coming out from a fluidic chamber after false memories being implanted onto their brain, so they literally now have holographic inserts of memories that are not their own or that are very fake. So they do not remember what happened on one of their ICC secret missions. Temporary stasis. Sometimes the fluidic chambers are used to temporarily hold ICC operatives or assets in order to give them subliminal programming orders, as well as information for mission protocols and parameters before they are sent out to do field work on their assigned projects. The subjects have no memories or recall of ever being in these fluidic chambers. Now, some assets who have advanced psychic abilities, memory recall, photographic or eidetic memory, it's harder to blank slate or wipe their memories from their brains. So they actually remember sequences of events from memory recall or from hypnosis. It's easier for them to remember because the blank slating or mind wiping doesn't last on them for very long. And within like 10, 15 years, they have memory recall of what happened to them in the secret space program factions or groups. Electromagnetic chamber. This is an electromagnetic prisoner holding chamber which the ICC uses in order to interrogate ET prisoners and ICC defectors. So basically, what happens in this chamber is like there's an electromagnetic field that literally suspends you up and you're hanging there in the chamber, and they can send electric shock waves into your body as an incentive for you to provide information for the interrogators. So this can happen to ET prisoners, ICC defectors, or anybody else that they want to question. So basically, you're, like I was saying, you're just hanging there suspended in an electromagnetic stasis field, and you have no way of getting out from the chamber. So you're stuck in it and you're just hanging there suspended until you tell them what they want to know, whether that's physically telling them or even psychically. And that can happen to the ETs or to humans. If an individual falsely answers questions, lies, or omits the truth, they experience having an electric shock blast surge hit their nervous system. This creates a very painful sensation to both the mind and the body, so subjects are more inclined to talk after experiencing this process multiple times if they are lying during an interrogation session. And extraterrestrials in particular do not like having electrical shock to their bodily systems. Some of them don't take pain so well and can't process the electricity going through their body, and that interferes with their thinking processes. And for humans as well. Cyborg Experiment Labs. The ICC has cybernetic experimentation labs on its Mars bases. Living humans are used against their will because they're kidnapped. They're used as test subjects with combining cybernetic technology with human body parts. After this has been done, other subjects are used to have their memory engrams transferred to the built cyborg bodies. This is done to see how successful virtual memory implantation of memory engrams can be accomplished in a semi-cybernetic biological being. The process is called transhumanism. Smart spacesuits. The planetary corporations and interplanetary corporate conglomerate specializes in building advanced smart spacesuits, which allow the wearer to adapt to different environmental temperatures so they are not hot or cold. Bodily waste fluids are recycled. So basically, while you're wearing the smart suit, you actually don't go to the bathroom. Somehow, because the smart suit has nanotechnology, nanites, woven into the suit itself, so it can change the molecular structure of your body so you don't create bodily waste while you're wearing the smart suit. So that's what I mean by bodily waste fluids are recycled, because somehow in your body, the structure of how waste is made, because it's supposed to come out of your body, it doesn't. So somehow it's changed on a molecular level, so you don't have to physically go to the bathroom while wearing the smart suit, and there's no repercussions of you having a bathroom accident and of you not being in pain. Somehow your molecular structure is changed while wearing the smart suit. So you're not constipated, you're not in pain. You don't physically have to go to the bathroom in bodily waste coming out. You don't have to do that while wearing the smart suit, and there's no health, physical pain, or repercussions while wearing the smart suit. And when you do take off the smart suit, you go to the bathroom as regular as you always do usually. These suits also act as camouflage shields, so the wearer can become invisible, and also bullet and laser fire is deflected from the suit's electromagnetic energy field, so the individual wearing the suit cannot be injured during battle. And these smart suits, they also can mimic clothing. While you're wearing the smart suit, it could look like a dress, it could look like any type of clothing. It also has the capability of levitation, the smart suit, because it has consciousness thought-assisted technology in it because of the nanotechnology in the suit. So basically, when you put on the helmet, you can levitate the suit, the smart suit, with your thoughts psychically, give the suit programming. It could take you into space, so you no longer need a ship or a craft. You can also teleport with the suit from one location to another, on planet or somewhere off planet to another planet. The smart suit has healing abilities, so if you injure your leg, you sprain it, or you get a horrible cut in your skin, the smart suit releases certain type of drug serums to help heal you, or nutritional supplements, whatever you need to stay healthy. The smart suit temporarily can provide that for you. Regulate your emotions, your various hormonal balances, etc. in your body. So it just balances all that out so you're healthy while wearing the smart suit. ICC Mars orbital stations. The ICC has 4 Mars orbital defense and communications space station platforms, which monitor space traffic between Mars and Earth, as well as teleportation activities from the various Star Gateway portals between other planets in the Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy. ICC orbital space platforms are usually cloaked so they cannot be picked up by radar, telescopes, or satellites in space. These 4 space station orbital platforms also act as advanced satellite arrays, which send out classified communications to various SSP and ICC space fleets, bases, and colonies that are located throughout the Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy. Building fleet ships for the Dark Fleet, also known as Nachtwaffenregier in German and Spanish. The ICC builds advanced motherships for the Dark Fleet and also trades with other civilizations for providing them with starship technology, as well as medical serums, trading routes and rights to other planets, and building out bases, etc., in exchange for workforce labor and favors. ICC ship technology has reinforced non-penetration shielding and cannon plasma blast weaponry, which is capable of destroying cities on planets. As well, the cannon plasma weapons can also destroy planets. That's why they're otherwise called the planet killers or planetary body destroyers. Planetary terraforming technology. ICC has terraforming technology that sends a neo-laser blast beam of protons or nuclide peptides to planets so they can be transformed, having living plant life, oxygen, atmosphere, oceans, etc. The neoblast also sends bioliving matter, peptides, which helps to create biological life on planets or planetary bodies as well as moons, as an example. An ICC stealth cruiser ship which can travel beyond the speed of light, capable of planet-to-planet travel within 10 minutes or half an hour, sometimes longer, depending on how far apart the planets are in the solar system. It may take several hours to travel to other solar systems and maybe months if traveling to a different galaxy. A spacecraft that has time dilation technology on it to be able to activate portals and wormholes in order to do time travel. Now, this time dilation technology does have protective shielded buffers on it, so you can't just activate the time dilation devices on the ship without having access codes to the technology. It's acts as a protective measure, so you don't just go time traveling wherever you want to go and whenever you want to go just because you want to, or change timelines because you don't like something that happened in history. So there are protective measures set up so you don't do that. You have to have access codes enabled in order to be able to time travel, to activate the time dilation technology on the ship. And the buffers are there to make sure you don't accidentally set something off and get lost in a timeline, or you don't do something that's nefarious for time travel. So only certain people on the crew personnel have access to activate the time dilation technology on the ship. That's why the buffers are there to protect the ship and the people on it, so they don't time travel unless it's been authorized to do so. And if somebody else takes over the ship, like space pirates or terrorists, they won't have access to the time dilation technology because it has buffers on it. They don't have the access codes, so they can't use the technology. Mining operations, SSB and ICC. The SSB and the ICC do various mining operations in the Kuiper Belt, where there are asteroids with deposits of gold, silver, platinum, uranium, etc. There are also places in the solar system where crystal minerals are mined in order to create fusion technology to power ships and cities for the SSB and ICC space colonies, which are located on moons, space stations, and planets in the Milky Way galaxy and Andromeda galaxy, as well as further out beyond these galaxies or solar systems. There are ICC bases on some asteroids. Secret Space Program Alliance and ICC ships. Through some of the recent hypnosis sessions, I've discovered that there may not be a Secret Space Program Alliance at all, so please keep that in mind. The SSP and ICC has ships which are research vessels, transportation cruisers, cargo ships, battleships, intelligence gathering, and exploration spaceships. SSP ICC vessels and ships come in all different sizes, forms, some small and others can be mid-sized or as big as planets depending on the purpose of the ships. And none of the secret space programs are here to help us, to rescue us, to better us as a species. They're not saviors. They're all out for themselves to protect their own interests, agendas, and property on the moon, Mars, and elsewhere in the solar system, the galaxy, and outside even our galaxy. So these programs are ruthless. That's why I don't think there's a secret space program alliance. There's a bunch of secret space program factions and groups that are mercenary, that are predatory, and they look out for their own best interests. And it is in their own interest to keep the secrecy going, to not have full disclosure, because they have a lot of different assets and they've built out their own bases, colonies, cities, and research facilities that they want to protect. That's their assets. They don't want that coming out into the public in full disclosure. They want to keep their activities secret out in space because there's no type of any oversight for the rights and freedoms of humans or extraterrestrials at all in these programs. They're very mercenary and predatory and military-like, these programs. And some of them are military, and some of them hold civilians on their bases. So these programs are not glamorous. They're not video games. It's real life being played out. Sometimes through time travel, quantum leap, time dilation, time travel projects. The 60 and back, the 20 and back, the 40 and back. That's done through time travel dilation. It's possible. So these programs are not romantic. You don't want to actually sign up to serve in these secret space programs. They're lethal. They create trauma, they create pain, they create horror, they create trouble for people who've been kidnapped or abducted and put in these programs to serve as secret space program assets. There's nothing glamorous about these programs, and I wouldn't voluntarily sign up for these programs because I know what I know. And a lot of innocents have been lost out in space to these programs and never returned back home, actually. Or if they were returned, they were very broken, traumatized, had a lot of health issues, social issues, emotional trauma, physical injuries and trauma. And there's no explanations for why you are the way you are because of these programs, because there's no physical evidence to back up what happened to you, to prove you were in these programs. It can't be legitimized. It can't be vetted. There are signs of something happened to you, of something happening to you, of abduction. The pain, the trauma, the mental health and physical health being poor, those are some signs. Sometimes craft following you around, those are other signs. You can take photos. And that's some proof, but it's not complete validation of offering a logical scientific explanation for what happened to you out in space, of proving it. People ask for proof. Where are your photographs? Where are your images? We don't have any. We have our memory recall. That's accessed through hypnosis or other means. That's what we have in our own descriptions. That's the only proof we have. You're not allowed to take pictures or video of what you do up in space in these programs. That's forbidden. That's classified. And that's why these programs are called secret space programs or black ops programs and missions, etc., etc. You're not allowed to take evidence back home in photographs and videos and technology that they're using in various devices. You can't take that with you. You're blank slated and you're sent home back in time through time dilation technology. You're sent back. That's it. You're out of the programs. You don't have access to the holographic medical pods for healing. You don't have access to the nice technological advanced devices or ships. You're out. Or sometimes they take you back in again on temporary missions, but you don't get to keep anything from these programs. You're lucky if you get to keep your sanity and yourself and you come back alive. You're lucky if you get that, at least. Secret Space Program Alliance and ICC ships. Now again, I don't really think the Secret Space Program Alliance even exists at this point. Or if it does, it's very nefarious and very unscrupulous as well. The SSP ICC ships have fusion warp drive engines that utilize the zero-point energy fields and torsion frequencies of quantum mechanics to power the warp drives so they can travel at the speed of light and beyond the speed of light. Some of the warp drives are crystalline based and are powered by crystal modules in the engines. Other ships have plasma engines. Those are the long-distance exploration vessels that are located deep in outer space, and at this point, they have discontinued the use of plasma cores for space travel because plasma can be very unpredictable and volatile if it's used in the wrong way, if it's modulated in the wrong way for a plasma core. Or for engines for that matter, so it could be very unstable. So that's not a very popular source of powering ships anymore. There's better technology now available, like the crystalline-based technologies implemented on ship drives and warp drives, etc. Star Cartography Science Lab. The SSP and ICC ships have star cartography science labs on exploration or reconnaissance vessels, which record and map star coordinates, mapping areas of solar systems and galaxies. Staff in the star cartography labs create holographic digital maps of newly explored space, as well as keeping logs of previously charted space documentation. Holographic cartography imaging. All the star cartography maps and records are holographic digital imaging files that are stored on various microcomputer and supercomputer databases within the cartography lab's virtual libraries. These space maps and records are encrypted by secure firewalls in the source of the microcomputers and supercomputers, so they cannot be hacked, as this is classified non-terrestrial information. Computer navigation stations. Most of the SSP and the ICC ships have 2 bridge decks and various navigation stations throughout the ship. Computer access is granted based on encryption rank classification, so there are different levels of classified or declassified information that can be viewed by ship personnel based on their access codes and permissions. Computer systems. SSP and ICC ships have holographic computer system interfaces that are virtually connected to all of the ship's systems, as well as the ship personnel, Neuralink implants or microchip implants that are in their brains. The computers are smart pad glass technology with holographic digital imaging screens or interfaces, which retract and turn off when someone has finished working at a micro or supercomputer station. General areas of the ship. There are areas on the ships where personnel can come to work on computer terminals for research purposes, personal areas of interest, communications stations, etc. The general areas of the ships have kitchens and cafeterias with replicators or food preparation stations for making freshly made cuisine. Now, freshly made cuisine is not always accessible depending on where the ship is, in which solar system, which galaxy, how far away it is from Earth. So some foods can be replicated and other foods not so easily. So having fresh produce or food, sometimes it's not so easy to have access to that. So replicators can replicate a lot of different foods, but some things are not so easy to replicate, so they have to be handmade food sources. By that's what I mean, freshly made cuisine. And that's a luxury. It's not always available, depending where you are in space, out in space. So sometimes you have access to normal food fare and while you're out traveling on the ship, especially if you're out for long distance exploration missions, you have standard food for the time that you're traveling. Crew and guest quarters. The crew personnel on the SSP and ICC ships are assigned quarters based on rank. Some quarters are larger with 2 rooms if work ranking is higher, like a captain or a general. Usually for mid-level personnel, 1-bedroom quarters are assigned. There are also guest quarters for negotiators, diplomats, trading personnel, research teams, scientists, engineers, etc. Information centers on ships. All the SSP and ICC ships have a secondary ship bridge that is a dedicated information center deck where intelligence gathering is done and encrypted data is logged into the ship's holographic classified databases. As well, encrypted communications is sent to other ships for passing on classified information and experimental research projects. Ship bridge decks. There are usually 4 to 6 personnel staff stationed at the main ship deck for piloting the ship, navigation control, communications specialists, research crew, etc. There are also the technology specialists who maintain the ship's computers and engineering sections. Crew personnel do shift rotations, so there is R&R downtime for relaxation, etc. Ship weapons control stations. All of the SSP and ICC ships have some type of weapons defense armament systems which have laser guidance controls to lock on potential enemy ship targets, photon or plasma torpedo missiles, etc. Some military and defense warships have plasma cannons mounted on the ships in order to be able to defend against planetary or solar system incursion by enemy vessels. Ship navigation consoles. SSP and ICC ships have various navigation consoles to check ship flight plans, course corrections, manifestos of ship missions, etc. As well, there are diagnostic system stations where crew, maintenance staff log in reports for ship repairs and run computer diagnostics on the ship's overall status of functionality and maintenance schedules. Library and archives rooms on ships. The SSP and ICC ships have computerized library and archives rooms which store the ship's mission logs, personnel profiles, research project findings, classified materials, etc., on crystalline data chips that can be accessed from the micro and supercomputer systems. Language translation and ship database creation is done in these ship libraries and archives. As well, there is information provided on planetary histories and protocols on making first contact with other ET species. Science labs for memory recall. There are science labs on the SSP and ICC ships with holographic virtual reality memory pods which specialize in getting crew personnel who had ET lifetimes to be able to activate their original blueprint genetics and cellular memory and remember their memories of who they were on other planets, special abilities, and expertise in job functions like advanced shipbuilding, star navigation, telepathy, etc. And these holographic virtual reality memory pods are also called memory engram stations. Medical Bay Care Centers. There are medical bay care centers on the SSP and ICC ships. The equipment in these centers monitors the physical health and well-being of crew personnel to make sure they are healthy and there is no disease or any AI signals within the brain body. SSP Dark Fleet, otherwise known as Nachtwaffenregier, Night Weapons Roar. The Dark Fleet works with the reptilians, insectoids accompanying them on Empire missions, but the reptilians only act as advisors. There is no ETs on the Dark Fleet ships, only human personnel. Dark Fleet members can be ruthless and wear uniforms that are white on black in color. And on the left-hand side, the image of the reptilian insectoid hybrid, that is Zagor. His name is Zagor, and he wears a smart suit that has nanotechnology in it. And it's fully computerized, and it interfaces with his bodily systems, with his psychic abilities. And Zagor does talk in reptilian, which is not easy to psychically understand or process through the language translation modifications through Neuralink implants. Even the Neuralink implants, when your reptilian languages are not easy to translate, even when you have the Neuralink implants or other microchips in your brain. Who is Zagor, the reptilian insectoid hybrid? Zagor is a reptilian insectoid hybrid who is an ambassador to the Dark Fleet / Nachtwaffenregier. Night Weapons Roar, loose translation of the German / Spanish terms for Nachtwaffenregier. Zagor accompanies Dark Fleet personnel on tours of various classified facilities in the Dark Fleet territory, making sure that the personnel only see facility locations that they are supposed to tour and not wander off to locations that they do not have access to. Zagor is 14 feet tall with green skin and black eyes. He wears an AI smart suit and has the ability to connect to various micro and supercomputer technologies with the assistance of his smart suit. Dark Fleet colonies. The Dark Fleet has managed to venture outside the local solar system and has built colonies on other planets. This fleet's city ships look cigar-shaped as they are transport bus vehicles transferring personnel from the cities to off-world secret bases, space stations, etc. Currently, the Dark Fleet has been locked out from Earth space as there is a shield barrier preventing them from coming back to the local solar system. The Dark Fleet has many genetically altered crew with super soldier abilities, Neuralink implants, and microchip technologies within the personnel's brains. Dark Fleet ships. The Dark Fleet has the most heavily armed and advanced spaceships out of the many SSP ships. And also the ICC has very advanced ships and technologies as well that equal that of the Dark Fleet, sometimes even better than the Dark Fleet. Dark Fleet ships are usually either shaped in a triangular pattern, diamond pattern, or there are circular Death Stars. These ships are large battle cruisers or war striker ships designed to engage in large-scale attacks on enemy space armadas or even interplanetary war. Dark Fleet ships. Some of the Dark Fleet ships are pumpkin-shaped or teardropped, and they are very fast. All of the fleet ships are capable of going beyond the speed of light. Dark Fleet warships are some of the largest ships that the ICC has ever built, and the telecommunications technology on these ships is the most advanced out of all the other SSP ships that were designed. This is an example of a Dark Fleet base, which is somewhat pyramid-shaped. These bases are usually outside of the solar system. There are tall electromagnetic jamming towers, so communication transmissions cannot be intercepted by enemy forces. Dark Fleet defense installations. The Dark Fleet has many defense installations where weapons are produced. Soldiers are trained in fierce fighting techniques that are not legal fighting styles. All these defense installations and bases have their own power cell energy grids, so they are self-sufficient and sustainable, so are not reliant on the SSP or ICC for material support. These bases have planetary magnetic shielding around them, so they cannot be seen or detected from space, so they are virtually cloaked and invisible. They can't be picked up by radar, by telescopes, or satellites out from space. Power cell energy tower grids in Dark Fleet base buildings. There are 40 of these bases on a planet. The way the Dark Fleet treats its assets and operatives can be very despicable. If the assets and operatives are not being cooperative, then the Dark Fleet supervisors of these operatives or assets actually will infest the operatives or assets with archonic entities to basically control uncooperative members of SSP personnel. Now, these archonic entities could be physical, small beings that are worm-like or snail-like, and they're put into someone's ear, mouth, and they burrow themselves into the brain system to control the asset or the operator. And you do things against your own will, you do acts of horror, you do horrible things to other people and yourself. And when these archonic entities leave your body, you're left a broken individual with a lot of trauma and nightmares and horror of what that archonic entity did in your body while it possessed you, literally. So that's what the Dark Fleet does to its unwilling or uncooperative assets. They're infested with archonic entities. Now that could be a physical entity, or it could be an energetic entity that is made of energy and does not have a physical shape or form. So those are entity attachments, the worst and the most foulest of them all. That's what the Dark Fleet does to its uncooperative or unwilling assets. And that's called the Ring of Archons ritual. That's what it basically is. Using negative energies and forces and implanting these archonic entities into living bodies of assets and people who are living and alive to do horrid things. And the asset is always aware of what's going on when the archonic entity has a hold of it. So the asset knows what's happening. They can't control their body while the archonic entity is in their body, but they're fully aware of what the archonic entity is doing with their body. It's taking it out for a ride and doing horrid things and controlling the asset. And it's quite difficult when the archonic entity leaves the asset's body. It's quite difficult to get back your sanity and mental health and even physical health, because you had no control over what the archonic entity did to you or with you. It's horrid. But that's what the Ring of Archons ritual is. That's how the Dark Fleet uses it on its assets and operatives that are not cooperative and don't want to do the Dark Fleet's bidding, but they're forced to do it when these archonic entities infest them, either for a short period of time or prolonged period of time. It doesn't matter. The Archon is in charge of you. You don't have any free will or any freedom at all in what you do, what your actions are, how you behave. You're not yourself, basically, because you're infested with entity attachments.